enough lift underneath your seat so that this shape feels sustainable. So instead of when I cross my legs, kind of rounding back through the lumbar spine, actually press the low belly a little bit forward so you feel like these little bones of your hips are pressing slightly down. Good. Now if you can, maybe bring your heels a little bit further apart, like under the opposite knee. Other way. Yes. Now close your eyes. Relax all the little muscles of your face. Try now, and as best as you can throughout the whole practice, to keep your lips softly together and a small space between the teeth. Release the tongue down and back. Feel the jaw soften completely. Now bring some awareness into the dense point. So that space in the back of your head where the skull meets the neck vertebrae. Now push that space slightly back, almost imagining like something that was behind you like a wall, and you wanted to touch your head to the wall. So you feel the front of the neck become a little bit engaged and the back of the neck very long. Lift the center of the chest. Notice how lifting the chest organically and naturally releases the shoulders down and back. So no need to create more tension in the neck and shoulders, just feel them heavy and relaxed. Now begin to observe the sensations of the breath as it flows in and out of the nose. Observing the cool air pull in through the nostrils, inflate first the low belly and then the chest. Keep the shoulders heavy. Exhale, feeling the warm air flow out through the nose. Relax the chest and then the lower belly. Now observe anything that you may hear in this present moment. Giving all of your attention to any sound that may come in this moment. And notice how the more attention we give to the auditory sense, the more sounds we can usually pick up. So noticing how there's like layers upon layers of different sounds all around us. Noticing the sounds of the pups, the waves, the rustling of the leaves, chirp of the birds. Now notice anything that you may or may not smell in this present moment. Also maybe the pups. Maybe even from here you can almost pick up on a little bit of a sea breeze scent. Now notice any taste that you may have lingering on the tongue. Observe the tactile sensations of your body. Feel your seat on the blocks, hands on the lap, feet on the floor. Notice how your body feels this morning. Now notice any thoughts that may have arisen in accordance with all of the sensory inputs. Give yourself permission to kind of like we neutrally observed all of the different senses, to also take a step back from the thinking mind and become the observer of even the thoughts. Not creating any attachment, any aversion, any judgment to anything, just allowing the sensations to flow through you. Bring your hands together at your heart center. Speaking for a moment this morning on a concept called santosha. Santosha from Sanskrit translates into English as contentment. So we can notice a lot of ways in which we can cultivate a little bit more satisfaction and contentment in our lives, both on the mat throughout this morning's practice, and in our minds, and even in our lives off of the mat. Notice what comes up for you. Then I'll invite you to fill your mind just with an intention, perhaps based on santosha, to carry with you through this morning's practice. Remembering to be, first of all, super grateful and content for whatever shapes or movements that our body can make this morning. And instead of always wanting more or grasping for anything externally, coming always from this place of being completely full and perfect as we are. Slowly open the eyes, release the hands to the lap. Bring the left hand with the index and thumb together and the other three extended out long with the palm face up. Now bring the small fingers to touch the pad of the hand, and then the peace sign fingers will either stay extended, or if you can bend them in as well. Ideally, maybe it feels nice to put the peace sign fingers right at the third eye. So this is the pineal gland of the body, the pituitary gland. Now we'll use the pinky right finger to open and close the left nostril, and the thumb to open and close the right nostril.
Okay.
Exhale completely, close the eyes. Now plug the thumb over the right nostril and inhale through the left. Now switch the close and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Now switch and exhale through the left. Try to make each breath very thorough and complete. Inhale through the left. Then exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Then exhale through the left. Continuing like this with your own natural rhythm of breath. Keep the lips closed, the face soft, a lift of the chest. Now the next time that you naturally come to exhale out of the left nostril, keep the eyes closed, just release the right hand down to meet the left. Observe how you feel. Open the eyes, transition off of the blocks and onto the hands and knees. Stacking everything really nicely. Put your wrist right underneath the shoulders, knees right under hips, and even the toes and heels point straight back behind the knees. Now look at the eyes of the elbow. Make sure the eyes of the elbow are slightly rotating in, so they're kind of like the diagonal line as your thumb. Tuck the chin slightly down and back. Bring your awareness to that dense point. It's almost like the matrix plug-in point, if that creates a good reference. Now press down into the tops of the feet and inhale, hover the knees off of the mat just a little bit. Tuck the tailbone slightly under and pull the low belly up and in. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Now keep that pressing down into the feet, relax the knees down. Tuck the chin and the tailbone in even more. And feel that same pulling up and in of the low belly coming into cat pose. Inhale into cow. And even as you open the front of the spine here, keep a little bit of engagement of the low belly to protect the low back. Exhaling into cat pose, keeping the spine very long. So imagine like top of your head and tailbone reach away from one another. Inhale, draw the shoulders towards one another behind you. Imagine you want to press the chest forward. Only lift the chin as much as you can open the chest. Take one more breath out. Squeeze out all of the air. Soften the face. Now suspend the breath out. Become completely still. Squeeze out a little bit more breath. Be calm. Slowly inhale to a neutral spine. Keep the right shoulder right on top of the right wrist. And inhale, lift the left hand and the right foot. Stay pressing down into the top of the left foot. Inhale, lift the lifted limbs a little bit more. Then exhale, slowly bend them and reach them towards one another, maybe touching, maybe not. Exhaling completely. Inhale to lift up and out. Keep the low belly strong. Exhale to curl in. Do 2 more like this. Stay pressing down into your foundation. Maybe close the eyes. Connect the movement with the breath. Take 1 more exhale whenever you get there. Now this time as you inhale, keep the limbs going up and maybe connect them up and behind you, clasping the outside of the ankle with the thumb facing up. Perfect. Now press into the foot, into the hand, and lift the knee. Good, open the chest, 1 more breath in. Now slow, controlled release, back through all 4s. Bring the big toes together to touch, spread your knees. Do a little bit of cow pose in the low back, tilt the tailbone up, and then release the hips down. Keep the arms straight for an active child's pose. So my elbows are extended and I kind of press my hands into the mat. Feel the undersides of my shoulders open. Take 1 more inhale, inflate the low belly. 1 more exhale, feel the low belly pull in. With your breath in, come back through all 4s, finding your foundation. Now flip the right palm face up. Make sure that the wrist is still underneath the shoulder. Now keeping all of your fingers on the mat, invite the hips and the shoulders back just a little bit, as much as you can still breathe. Breathe through the top of the forearm. Take 1 more inhale. 1 more exhale. Come back up through center. Now same thing to the other side. Trying to make sure that the wrist stays right on top of right underneath the shoulder. And then inhale from that steady base, lifting up and out. With every breath in, reach the fingertips or the tips of the toes and fingers up and away. And then exhale to curl in slow motion with the breath out. Maybe close the eyes if that helps you stay focused on just the breath and the body. And being super content and very grateful for whatever shape and expression we can come into today. Finding that delicate balance between pushing ourselves, but also just being really stoked for whatever our body can offer us in this moment. Good, now adding on, take 1 more breath out. And then with the breath in, inhale and lift, and then maybe connect. Spread the fingers even more here. Good, try not to let the thumb bend and press down very strongly there. Super important to protect the wrist. Press foot into hand, lift the knee even more, take 1 more breath in. Now slow, controlled release back down. This time knees together, big toes together. Flip the fingertips towards the toes with the palms face up. Allow the elbows to bend. Relax the shoulders and release the forehead all the way down to a block or all the way to the mat. Take 1 more inhale and 1 more exhale. With the inhale, push the fingers underneath your shoulders, rise. Stack everything back into all 4s, this time flipping the left palm face up, wrist right under shoulder, and then inviting whatever amount of opening still allows you to breathe into the front of the forearm. Take 1 more inhale, 1 more exhale. Now come through all 4s, tuck the toes under and step the knees a little bit away from your wrist. Now hover the knees off of the mat, feel the strong low belly. And now release the chest towards the knees and then lift the hips up and back. So prioritizing here in down dog the neutrality of the spine over the extension of the legs. So my knees can bend as much as I need, especially the first down dog of the morning, to find that same lower back moving into the body that we did while we were sitting on the block. Take 1 more breath in, 1 more breath out. Inhale, lift your right heel up and back,
flex the toes so the toes point straight down to the mat. Make sure the left knee is still in alignment with the left toes. Right knee is nice and straight. Inhale, lift a little bit more. Now exhale, draw the right leg underneath the body and extend it out to the left side, coming into a variation of a side plank with the left leg down. Good, straighten the left leg. Good, now lift the hips even more. Take one more breath in. Now slowly and controlled, come back through plank pose. Exhale. Now bend the knees, chest towards the thighs, and then lift the hips. Take a deep breath in, and a deep breath out. Inhale, lift the left heel. You can make sure the heels are still in alignment by looking at the left toes. Make sure the left toes point straight down towards the mat. Straighten the left knee even more and lift the heel with a big inhale. Then exhale, kick the left foot over to the right side, dropping the right heel, pressing into the inner arch of the right foot. Inhale to lift the hips, maybe extend the arm. Take one more breath in, lift a little more. Now exhale with a strong, steady core, slowly come back to plank pose. Now drop the knees to the mat. Release the shoulders away from your ears. Do a little double chin. Find that dance point activation. Now brushing the elbows to the outsides of my rib cage. Come all the way almost to the mat. Now come to the tops of the feet. Press down into the feet. Feel the big lift in the low belly. Inhale. Now bend the knees. Maybe flip over the toes and back to down dog. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Drop the knees to the mat, untuck the toes, and come to stand on the knees. Now grab your thumbs to the insides of your thighs and do a little bit of internal rotation of the thighs. So kind of like pull here. Now press into the tops of your feet and invite the chest up and have that be how you begin your back bend. So making sure that there's no compression in the low back. Good. Take one more breath in. Really nice. Now pull the core in. Exhale to lift. Relax your hands to the sides. Close your eyes. Just observe the sensation of the back bending. Now plant the palms. Bring the big toes together to touch and try to stay up onto the tips of the toes. Extend the legs. Press down into the hands and imagine like all of the weight is going to start to come into your hands. Take one more breath out. Now step the feet back to hip width, down dog. Inhale and exhale. Now drop the knees to the mat. Drop the elbows to the mat. Now, kind of like that same sensation that we just created, imagine that I want to extend my legs and eventually stack my hips on top of my shoulders. Feel the core, press into all parts of your hands. Make sure elbows are right underneath shoulders. Take one more breath in, come up onto the tips of the toes, and exhale. Now release the toes, tops of the toes to the mat, knees spread wide. Grab a block on your way. Bring the edge of your wrist right to the edge of your block and clasp your thumbs. And release the block an appropriate distance for you to keep the hips heavy and the head releases towards the mat. It doesn't necessarily need to touch. Just make sure that the elbows are strong and straight. Take one more breath out. Now inhale to lift. Turn the block down one setting and put it in the alignment of your left knee. Now put the right hand and release the head to the inside of the right bicep. Breathe deeply through the outside of the shoulder. Try to straighten the elbow. Good, there. Last deep breath out. Inhale to rise. Switch the block to the other side and switch hands. Breathe deeply into the outer left shoulder. one more exhale. Now inhale to lift. Set the block off to the side. Stack wrists right under shoulders. Press into the tops of the feet and lift the knees. Close the knees. Now flip over the toes back to down dog. Inhale thoroughly and exhale thoroughly. Step your left foot forward, stacking the knee right on top of the ankle. Now look at the back foot. Try to put the heel right on top of the ball mounds of the toes. Now feel a lift inside of your groin, like the inner thighs are pulling up and in. Press down into the feet, open the chest, and press down to lift up. Good, make the back knee nice and strong. Now bring the hands together at the heart center. Do a little bit of the double chin and like the dense point activation. Now with every exhale, release the hips a little bit down and forward. But don't lose the pulling up of the inner thighs. Take one more exhale. Now inhale, lift the hands up and overhead. Exhale, drop both hands to the inside of the left foot. Drop the back knee and tuck the back toes. Swivel the left foot out to the side until the wrist comes right underneath the left shoulder. Make sure you're pressing down into all parts of the hands. If it becomes too much on the wrist, you can do a fist into the mat. But if you press really strongly into the hands, the wrist should feel strong. Now keep the left knee drawing into the midline like it wants to kiss your outer left shoulder. If you can still breathe here without letting the knee fall out to the side, maybe come onto the forearms onto a block or two, or maybe all the way to the mat. So being super content with wherever our body is this morning. Send all of your breath into the outer left hip. Close your eyes. Imagine that with every deep breath in, you feel the outer left hip becoming more open and spacious. And with every deep breath out, feel any tension or stuck energy flow out of the outer left hip. Take one more breath in. One more breath out. Now release the block off to the side of the mat if you had it. Stack the wrists right under shoulders. Now bend the elbows just a little bit straight back like chaturanga arms. Lift the back knee and tuck the back toes. Feel the core. Now lift the left foot. Good. Now invite the chest maybe down a little bit further. Exhale. Inhale. Three-legged dog. Keep the left leg lifting up and back. Good. Now stack the left hip on top of the right and bend the left knee. So it's almost like the left heel wants to meet your left glute. Keep the inner thighs pulling up and in. Take one more inhale. Lift the knee a bit higher. Exhale, down dog. Inhale. And exhale. Step the right foot forward. Right knee right on top of the ankle. Left heel right on top of ball mounds of toes. Now feel the foundation and then lift from there. Nice. Feel the low belly pulling up and in. Right knee right on top of the ankle. Press into my hand. Keep the hips there, but suck shoulders on top of hips. Good. Now extend the hands up and overhead. Oh, we had the hands at the heart first, my bad. Good. Do a little bit of your double chin. Now press all parts of your hand into the other. Super great to stimulate both parts of the brain, to balance both of our nervous systems. Now without lifting the shoulder, just lift the hands. Keep the elbows bent if you need. Press into my hand. Good. Keep that nice and strong. Take one more breath in. Lift just a little bit more. Now exhale both hands to the inside of the foot. Drop the back knee and untuck the back toes. Make room for the wrist to come right under the shoulder. Now same thing here, try to keep the right knee hugging into the midline for this variation. And observe whatever expression your body would like to make this morning. Maybe coming down onto the forearms, onto a block, maybe not. Both sides can be really different, so just observe. Close your eyes, connect to your breath.
feel something shift in your body just using the breath. Last few moments on this side. I know this can be an intense opening, so call on even deeper breathing. One more exhale. Now tuck the back toes under, lift the knee. Start to bend the elbows back, press the right knee into the outside of the arm even more. Eventually maybe lift the right toes, drop the chest a little bit more. Now lift the hips up and back, keep the right leg extending, three-legged dog. Take one more breath in, then stack the hips, bend the right knee. Make sure that you feel the low belly strong, so it's not a back bend, you're just opening the hip. Take one more breath in, lift the knee a bit higher. Exhale, back to down dog. Exhale. Inhale, step to the hop, step or hop to the top of the mat. Sounds like Dr. Seuss. Now halfway lift, extending the spine and the legs, maybe knees come to the legs. Exhale, classic forward fold, bending the knees as much as you need to find belly on the thighs, tuck the chin in, reach the top of the head towards the toes. Now sink the hips down towards the level of the knees and either come into chair pose with the hands up and overhead or down with a line in your torso. Release the shoulders down and back. Squeeze the knees together. Make sure you can see the tips of your toes over the knees. Now, sink the hips a little bit lower. Exhale. Inhale, upward facing hands. Now, same way to back bend here. Invite the heart up towards the sky, and then release hands towards the heart, elbows towards the knees. Nice, strong, low belly. Inhale, and exhale. Inhale, upward facing hands. Now bring the hands to the hips. So checking out our bodies in Tadasana here. So Tadasana can really tell us so much about what's going on in our bodies. Bring the big toes and heels together to touch. And then notice the knees. So imagine like the Venetian man, you know, like from Leonardo da Vinci, no? So if you tend to have any like maybe an injury or different tendencies in your body, you can have some internal and external rotation of the knees. So just getting to know your own body and the little corrections you need to make to find neutrality. Do you already know yours?
Is it bad?
No, it's good, but
What's wrong?
you're moving it a lot. I think you already know, no?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, they look good.
Oh.
But are you doing some activity there with your legs?
When?
When you move your muscles?
I guess when I'm like trying to balance myself.
Okay. Must have been that. No, it looks perfect. You guys both look really good in alignment. A little bit internal.
Yeah, is that it?
Uh-huh. Okay, so is this your neutral?
Like, I guess if I stand like this a lot, yeah.
Uh-huh. So your left knee is a little bit more internally rotated, but they both are a little bit. So do that action to make them in neutral. You already knew what to do. There, exactly. So do a little bit less activity. There. So try to maintain that little action that you have to do to maintain neutrality in the knees for all of our standing poses. That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be a lot of work, but mostly mental. So try not to lose that as you bring the left knee up and then out. It's crazy, no?
It's like wired.
Oh yeah, totally. And it takes so much conscious effort all the time to rewire it, but it's totally possible.
Yeah.
Like to spread the toes. I was doing it yesterday and it was mentally it was so hard.
It's crazy, no? It's so good though. Now plugging that left foot anywhere along the inside of the right leg except the knee joint itself. Now make sure that the left hip hasn't lifted, so the pelvis is still in neutrality. Now just as much as you're kind of like pressing your foot into your leg, press the inner thigh into your foot. Now bring the hands to the heart center. A little balance challenge here. If you guys are feeling up to it, maybe close the eyes just for a breath or two. Don't be afraid of coming out of the pose. Coming in and out is a part of the beautiful process. Now press down into the feet and start to grow branches. Feel your foundation pressing down so that you can lift up even more. Good. Release the
Now, extend the right leg out in front of you, the left arm to the side. We're coming into half moon here. So eventually my hips and my chest are gonna square towards the pool. Try not to touch the floor if you can. Do like a Bruce Lee Kung Fu kick with the left foot. Very nice. Take one more breath in. Now bend both knees, come to stand. Very nice. Close your eyes. Bring the hands together at the heart. Just observe. Be super content with whatever your body is doing today. Now same thing to the other side. Inviting the right knee up, then out, and then anywhere along the left leg that I can manage without lifting my right hip. So you can feel those little bony pubic bones in the front, and then bring the hands together at the heart center. Find any rotation that you need to through the knees. Now maybe, only if you feel like, close the eyes just for a couple breaths. Notice how it's really incredible how different the experience is with the eyes closed. Now open the eyes if you would like and start to grow some branches by rooting down even more. So it's like the lower half of the body presses down, and then the chest, the low belly, and then the arms lift up. Make sure that the neck is still in neutral. Take one more breath in. Then same thing here. Find something on the floor in front of your neutral gaze to stare at, and then extend the right leg, already starting to square the chest and the hips, coming into half moon. Very nice, good. Keep breathing, take one more inhale, really nice, same, find your drishti, and then exhale, come to stand. Beautiful. Close the eyes, just observe for a moment. Calm the breath, calm the heart rate, quiet the mind. Inhale and exhale. Release the hands to the sides. Inhale, reach the arms up and overhead, open the chest. Exhale, little back bend, maybe opening a little bit more, maybe not. Inhale, back to stand. Now lift the heels off of the mat, relax the shoulders. Now squeeze the knees together and start to lower the hips towards the heels. Nice and slowly. Now release the fingertips to the mat. Try to keep the chest open. Inhale to halfway lift. And exhale to fold forward. Now halfway lift. Sink the hips low. Lift the heels. Now going back up. For a little extra challenge, maybe close the eyes. Press down into all parts of your toes. Keep the toes nice and spread. Come all the way up. And then exhale to release. Very nice. Inhale, upward facing hands. Now exhale, sink the hips low. This time plant the fingertips and kind of hop the feet to the distance of your mat, the width of your mat. If the heels lift a lot, that's fine. You can just put something underneath your heels like that rolled mat if you need. Now try to lift the chest. So instead of feeling collapsed in my front body, I want to create a little bit of a lift. Now spread the toes, try to press down into all parts of your feet. Draw the chin slightly down and back, find neutral in the neck. Now close the eyes. Squeeze the knees into the elbows slightly, just as much as you are pushing the elbows outwardly into your knees. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Take one more inhale. One more exhale. Now make some rotations with your wrists. Try to move even the fingers, first in one direction and then the other direction. Now feeling the perineum pull up and in. You guys know the perineum? It's the space in your torso between your anus and your sex organ. So pull that up. You should feel like a lift in your core. Plant the palms shoulder distance, coming into crow pose. Walk the toes toward one another. Feel the perineum lift. Now squeeze the knees in. Bend the elbows to create your little shelf. And then as you feel comfortable, maybe just play with balancing, shifting the weight. Good, breathe. Take one more inhale. One more exhale. Now maybe do one leg at a time, jump back into a plank. Very nice. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Bend the knees, chest towards the thighs, and then hips up and back to down dog. Spread your fingers, spread your toes, close your eyes. Inhale thoroughly, and exhale thoroughly. Inhale, lift the right heel up and back, squaring the hips to the right side. Imagine that you want to touch the ceiling with the outer edge of your right foot. Take one more breath in. Now exhale, draw the right shin diagonally behind your wrists. Untuck the back toes and find the alignment of the left toe, heel, knee, hip. And make sure that the ankle either has the foot pointed or flexed, but that there's no like wrinkling in my ankle. You see that difference? It's like my foot looks like it's standing on it, like I'm standing on it. Now press the left hip slightly forward and down. Press into the fingers and try to open a little bit the front of the body. Now instead of compressing as I fold forward, try to stay long and imagine like you want to elongate the spine and reach the crown of the head towards the ocean. Relax the forehead to a block or maybe your stacked hands or all the way to the mat. Now relax completely through the hands, the wrists, the arms, the shoulders. Give all of your attention and breath to your outer right hip. Deepen the breath. Last few moments on this side. Inhale and exhale. Now replace your wrist right underneath the shoulders. Press down to lift up. Now bring the right hand towards the midline. Just look beyond the left shoulder, maybe clasping the inside of the thigh. Good. Try to keep the left hips pressing down and forward. Take one more breath in. Now exhale. Come back to face front. Tuck the back toes under and use the core. Try to stay very gentle with the right hip. Slowly come back to down dog. Inhale and exhale. Inhale forward into plank. Drop the knees to the mat. Untuck the toes. Now invite the chest forward and allow that to be what lowers the torso, brushing the ribs with the elbows. Come all the way down to the mat this time. Now walk your wrists underneath the elbows so they slide back a little bit. Good. Now tuck the chin, do a big double chin this time, and press down into the feet and the low belly to inhale and lift just the chest. So my chin is still reaching towards my chest. Point the elbows towards your heels and imagine like you want to touch your elbows together behind you. Tuck the chin down and back even more. Lift the chest. Inhale. Exhale to release. Relax your hands out to the side. Put the forehead into the mat. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Now put the elbows right underneath the shoulders. Press the forearms into the mat. Now bring the right fingertips towards the left wrist. Press your knees into one another. Now bend the left knee and clasp the thumb face down on the outside of your ankle. Now invite the left shoulder forward just a little bit. Press the right forearm down and have that be what lifts the chest. Now keep the shoulders strong, lifting the chest up, and press the foot into the hand. So it's almost like this bow and arrow action, pulling the foot down and back to lift the chest up and forward. Take one more breath in, and then exhale to release. Reset the forearms, this time left fingertips to the right wrist. Bend the right knee.
make that connection, and then draw the right hip or the right shoulder forward. Try to keep your knees together as best you can. Now make sure there's no crunching in the low back. Feel the belly button like it's pulling into your body. Now bow and arrow action. Push the foot into push the foot into the hand. Make sure it's not overextending the right shoulder. Do a little bit of your dins activation, little double chin. Take one more breath in, press into the left forearm. Exhale to release. Bring the forearms back to neutral. Tuck the toes under. Lift the knees off the mat. Now be really mindful of your low belly. Pull the low belly in and then lift the hips, coming into a point. Now lift the hips even more, coming into dolphin. Walking the toes towards your elbows. Bend the knees as much as you need. Inhale and exhale. Now drop the knees to the mat. Big toes together. Untuck the toes. And then slide your hips down towards the heels. Come into a child's pose. Relax everything here. Close your eyes. And deepen your connection with your breath and your body. Being super content for exactly where we are, who we are, with everything we have right here in this present moment. Inhale to slowly rise. Cross at your ankles. And now send the legs out in front of you. Make sure you can grab all of your props. Start with a prop or a block underneath your seat. Now soles of the feet come together to touch, knees fall out to the side. And notice here, create the distance that you need between your hips and your heels to find neutrality in the spine. So if I find myself with a lot of this posterior tilt of the pelvis, I just push my heels further away until I imagine like my belly button one day is going to be what touches the mat instead of my head. So having that in mind, invite the torso forward any amount, but for now, don't curve the spine at all. So the spine is still erect. I just change the relation, the angle of my spine to my hips. Good. Do you feel it here? Okay. You can go down further. So just keep this, and then invite the chest forward. There. Do you feel it here now? More so. You can keep going. Nice. I'm going to put some downward pressure on the knees here. Just tell me if it's too much. What do you feel in the outer hips now? Slightly. Nice. In this weirdest position. Isn't it crazy? We've all got our thing. Press your belly button towards the mat. Other way. I mean with your hips. So watch my hips. You see this? Do this. There. Good. Take one more inhale. One more exhale. Squeeze out all the breath. Release the outer hip. Now inhale to lift, nice and slowly. Very nice. Now set the block off to the side. Extend both legs out in front of you. And now draw the right knee in, planting the sole of the foot in line with your hip. Now lift the chest and bring the right hand behind you in the center of your spine, but a little further away. Now allow the right arm to be kind of like a kickstand. So instead of rounding through my spine, I stay nice and erect. Press down to lift the hand up. And then exhale, either grabbing the knee with the forearm, or you can bring elbow to the outside of the knee and push the arm into the leg to rotate even more. Maybe turn the gaze beyond the right shoulder. Try to keep the left toes flexed and pointing straight up to the sky. Now with every inhale, get a little bit taller, reach the top of the head up, but don't lift the chin. One more inhale, lift the chest. One more exhale, rotate a little bit more. Feel it in the low part of the spine. Inhale to slowly unwind. Extend the right leg and then bend both knees just a bit. Inhale to get nice and tall, and then exhale to fold forward. Imagine the spine is staying tall, crown of the head reaches towards the feet. Relax the shoulders. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. With the inhale, lift. Now the left knee draws in. Left fingertips press down so I can lift my chest even more. Inhale, lift the hand. And then exhale, find whatever variation feels nice on this side. Good, keep the right toes pointing straight up towards the sky. And then find that push and pull with the in and out breath. Feeling like with every inhale, you get a little taller to allow more rotation to take place. Because the spine needs to be stacked in order for the disc to rotate well. Take one more breath in, lift the chest and the top of the head. One more breath out, twist through the low back. Inhale to unwind. Again, make sure you can grab all of your props. Lie down on the back with the knees bent, soles of the feet on the mat. Tuck the shoulders very well underneath you to feel a big lift in the chest. Now reach down, make sure you can brush the tips of your heels with your fingers. Bless you. Now spread the toes and press down into the feet and the shoulders and inhale to lift the hips. Try to release the glutes and lift more through the upper body. Take one more inhale, lift a little bit more. Now exhale, come down nice and slowly. Now adding on from here, feel that same pressure, that same platform and base, pressing into the shoulders. So we come into plow pose. So as we go into plow pose, make sure that no part of your vertebrae spine should be on the mat. So tuck the shoulders even more underneath you and notice the back of the head and the shoulders on the mat, but my neck is not on the mat at all. So try to keep that. Don't turn the head from side to side once you go up and over. You can clasp the hands underneath you, but make the arms active. So if you clasp, the pinky edge of your hand has to press into the mat. Do you feel how that activates your triceps? Keep that foundation of the pinky edge of the hand, all parts of the shoulders, then maybe hip up and over. Make sure you can still breathe. Close the eyes. Make sure you don't turn the head from side to side. Press into the pinky edge of the hand. Draw the shoulder blades towards one another behind you. Take one more inhale. And then exhale, slowly come down. You can bend the elbows and catch the hips if you need. Come down vertebrae by vertebrae. Bend the knees, soles of the feet on the mat. Close the eyes and just take a breath here in stillness. Notice how your body feels. Take a hold of your strap. Bring the strap to the ball mound of the left foot. Send the left leg up and the right leg out long on the mat. Now make sure that you're not hyperextending the knee, but try to keep the knee in neutral, so work whatever rotation that you need. And then with the releasing of the leg towards the chest, bend the elbows out to the side. With every inhale, create more space in the back of the left leg. And with every exhale, feel it soften and release a little bit more. Never set on arriving in any sort of destination of a shape or a posture. Just set on arriving with full connection to my breath and body in each present moment. Take one last breath out to release the back of the left leg. Now release so
left hand on the mat. Keep the shoulder glued down as you release the left foot over the body to the right side any amount. You can bend the right elbow and release it on the floor if that feels nice. Now push the outer left hip down towards the right toes. Breathe deeply to the low back, the outer left hip. It's amazing and brutal. It's like every time. One more inhale, feel it inflate and open. One last exhale, feel it soften. Now with the breath in, lift the foot. And then you can just slide your right foot into the strap where the left foot was. Reset the hips if you need. And now starting by opening the back of the right leg. With every exhale, softly drawing the leg towards the body any amount. Might not even be a visible shift. Just feel like the back of the leg is softening with each exhale, even if it doesn't look like anything is happening. Press the foot gently into the strap. Take one more inhale. One more exhale. Now release the foot a bit so it's more or less vertical. Both parts of the strap into the left hand. Right shoulder glues to the mat. Exhale to release the right foot over to the left any amount. And it might feel nice to support the left elbow on the mat. Now close the eyes, relax your arms, your chest, your shoulders, your neck. Release the tongue down away from your teeth. Feel the jaw soften. Giant breaths here. Give them all of your attention. Exhale. With your breath in, unwind. Set the strap off to the side. Hug the knees into the chest. Release your lower back. Maybe rock side to side if that feels nice. Now roll over just to lift the torso a little bit. We're going to put some blocks underneath us. Put one block on its third highest setting underneath your head, and then the second block right underneath where your shoulders will be as you lie down. Now soles of the feet together to touch knees out to the sides. And as I come onto the blocks, make sure that the chest feels open and lifted. Make sure the block is in the right spot. If you feel tension in the low back, it might be too low. If you feel tension in the upper back, it might be too high. Does that feel okay? Does that feel nice?
Yeah, what am I feeling?
And maybe a big opening in the chest and the shoulders. Turn the palms face up and then now, soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Perfect. And just tell me if you want some blocks here to support the knees. Okay. So just raise a hand if something doesn't feel quite right. This should feel really relaxing and stable. Moving into a pranayama. Close your eyes. Relax very, very thoroughly all the little parts of your face. Relax the tongue down and back. Relax the entire torso. Using this sound to guide us through the pranayama, where we will be inhaling just for a little bit shorter than we exhale. So longer exhale. Just do your best to try to stay focused and present with breath. Move more through the low belly than the chest as you breathe.
slowly and gently start to come back to the body. Press into your elbows, your forearms to lift off of the blocks. Set them off to the side. Now, staying with the torso lifted just a little bit. Press your heels into the mat, knees bent. Now drop both knees over to one side. Keep the torso twisting, and maybe staying with the arms extended, or you could come onto the elbows. Tuck the tailbone under just a little bit, especially if you have a tendency to have a sway back. Take 2 more breaths here. Try to soften the low back and the low belly. Breathe into the side joint. Exhale. With your breath in, come back up through center. You can reset the hips if you need. Nice width between your heels. And then same thing to the other side. Maybe on this side it feels better to stay up on the hands, or to go a little bit deeper, coming onto the elbows. Always making sure you can breathe well, the soft face. Exhale thoroughly. Now lay down on your back. Hug the knees into your chest. Now cross outer right ankle to the top of the left thigh and flex both feet. Maybe keep your left hand at the right ankle. Release the right hand out to the side and drop both legs over to your left side. Instead of allowing the right knee to draw in, try to release the right knee away from your body. Breathe into the outer right hip, soften both legs, the low belly, the low back. Relax your shoulders, close the eyes. Last deep breath out. Squeeze out all of the air. Now inhale, come back up with the legs, uncross, hug the knees in one time, and then same thing on the other side. Trying to keep the left shoulder heavy on the mat. Exhale, release both legs to the right side. Maybe turn the head to look beyond the left fingertips. Last deep breath here, inhaling and exhaling. Let's go. Inhale, lift both legs. Set the feet to the outer edge of the mat, and then allow both knees to knock in. Relax the outer hips. Now stretch the arms and the legs. Turn the palms face up. You can put that lavender eye pillow on the face if that feels nice. You want some? Try to make sure that no part of the body touches the other or any props. So try to create an experience here with the least amount of stimulation as possible. Corpse pose, Shavasana. It can be quite hard for the human being to relax, especially in our day and age, where slowing down and even stepping into stillness can sometimes be perceived as laziness. We're very conditioned to go, go, go. Consequently, when we come to these spaces like in Shavasana, it might take a little bit of extra effort to completely quiet the mind. and to relax each and every little tiny muscle of the body without falling asleep. Notice if you could soften a bit more through your toes, your feet, your ankles, through the calves, the knees, the thighs. Soften your hips, your low belly, your low back. Feel your entire torso soften, relaxing the rib cage, all of your internal organs, entire spinal column. Feel the shoulder blades melt really heavy into the mat underneath you. Soften the arms, the hands, all the way to the tips of your fingers. Soften the tongue down and back into the bottom of the mouth. Feel your jaw and your neck relax completely. Release your lips, your cheeks, your ears, forehead, the temples, the eyebrows. The entire head softens so much so you feel your eyeballs sink heavily down into their socket. Feel the brain sink heavily down to the back of the skull. Now we give ourselves permission here to simply be, to allow all of this practice to be absorbed to our bodies, our minds, and our spirits. the mind and body still for just a moment longer. Really fill yourself with the sensation of being completely still, content, relaxed. Giving ourselves permission to carry it with us wherever we may go in life. Keep your eyes closed.
Just wiggle your eyeballs around. Gently rock the head from side to side. Brush the tips of your thumbs to the tips of your other fingers. Wiggle the toes. If you want, maybe rotate the wrists and the ankles. Slowly starting to rebirth from Shavasana, corpse pose, this place of death, stillness, and surrender. Inhale thoroughly, pointing through the toes, reach the arms up and overhead. Fill every cell of your body with fresh air. Now curl the knees in, exhaling. Give yourself a really nice hug. Now roll over onto your left side, keeping the knees curled in. Maybe the arm comes under the ear like a little pillow. Now press into your hands using the strength of the arms to lift, finding your way back into cross-legged seat on a block or two. Try to keep the mind quiet and the attention inward, maybe even the eyes closed. Then finding a nice long spine, a lift in the heart, exceptionally relaxed face. Bring the hands together at the center of your heart. Taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Now taking a moment to set an intention to carry with us into our day-to-day life. Remembering that yoga isn't something that we exclusively practice on our mat. It's not something physical. It can be a lifestyle if we choose to allow it to be. Fill your mind with any way in which you could cultivate a little bit more deep and genuine contentment that comes from only inside of you. Notice how, of course, things can enrich our lives, different material possessions, relationships, and wealth, status. However, if all of these things come to us and we are not fulfilled organically, intrinsically within ourselves, all of these things will eventually not fulfill us at all. Fill your mind just with any intention. And release your chin to the chest, bow in gratitude. Super grateful for our breath, for our bodies, for this practice, and for one another. Namaste means the divine in me bows to an